Um, I like the film. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there, but I hear through the grapevine somebody else has a different feeling, opinion.
So first of all, why you put me out there like that?
You know, what's up, guys? How's it going? We are the TBR crew here giving you movie and television reviews. I'm Gabby, my homegirl over here. Oh, wait, other side. Over here is Ember. And we'll be talking about One Night in Miami today. Um, y'all gotta tune in because I thought this movie was good.
Yeah, so One Night in Miami is directed by Regina King, and the screenplay is written by Kemp Powers.
Mhm.
It stars Leslie Odom Jr., Kingsley Ben-Adir,
Yes.
Eli Gore, and Aldous Hodge.
Mhm.
It takes place around the 60s, 1964, and
Mhm.
it 1963, 1964 is what it follows along. And it basically follows a night in Miami with Muhammad Ali, but before he gets his name, it's
Yeah.
Cassius Clay,
Mhm.
Jim Brown, Sam Cooke, and Malcolm X, and they discuss the responsibility of being successful Black men during the Civil Rights Movement.
Absolutely. Well, I for one would like to commend Regina King for doing this because it's I think around this time especially. I mean, her birthday came up not too long ago. It's
Mm-hmm.
MLK. Today is MLK Day when we're filming this. So
Mm-hmm.
um, and recording this as well. But um, it's MLK Day. It's no better weekend to do this, especially with what's going on in our country right now. We are
Yeah.
based in the U.S., so this is pretty interesting. But historically, I will say, the narrative of this film was just I thought it was phenomenal. I know Ember has some other thoughts about some things, but I'm gonna
No,
put you on blast, sis.
I'm about to say, when we get there, I'm like, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate
Like
it.
it was it was kind of good, but I they have some pretty good hitters in this movie. Like
That's exactly what I was
mhm,
when I was watching it. I was like, this is a really good.
mhm,
I think it's a really good cast of male
yeah,
leads that don't really get to play often
yeah,
because
mhm,
you have people like Idris and all these other male
yeah,
like
lead,
actors, like
mhm,
leading Black male actors that always get things and they
yeah,
always play those roles. So
mhm,
it's nice to see like a fresh cast of people. Not that they haven't
absolutely,
been in anything,
mhm,
but it's a really good opportunity to see them actually play good girthy roles, like something
absolutely,
with some substance and like detail. Besides, like, I mean, Leslie Odom Jr. was in
yeah.
Hamilton, but still, you know, I
I
I
was gonna mention that. I was like, that's kind of a heavy hitter, but no, but
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
it's so different. You know what I
it
mean?
is,
Like
it is.
it's there's difference between like
Mhm,
stage work
yeah,
and
mhm,
film work.
the film
But
work.
it was nice to see these actors
Mhm,
play these leading male roles,
yep.
leading Black male roles specifically. It
Uh-huh.
was nice to see them do something different.
And you know what? I can't agree more, or I can agree more. I guess that's the way you say it. But I can agree. I definitely agree because like you think about like Aldous Hodge. I think he's a I always like to call them Black Mirror alums.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's a Black Mirror
yeah.
alum. If anybody doesn't watch Black Mirror, you definitely should check it out. But just to point out, he's a Black Mirror alum. He's a Girlfriends alum. No,
hmm
I like binge watched all of that. And
Wait, he was on
he's
Girlfriends?
on Girlfriends, girl. I was like, look,
Okay.
my man showed up again. But
No,
but when
and you know what's that's funny because I'm
yeah,
like watching the movie and I didn't know who anyone was or what. I didn't read the synopsis or anything.
Gotcha.
So like, they're like, oh, Sam Cooke, and Leslie came out, and I was like, okay, we love to hear him sing.
Yeah.
We love to hear him sing.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, listen, listen, listen.
Go ahead, boy. Oh my God.
Oh my! I wonder if he actually did he do the singing in this?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was like, that sounded like him.
Yeah, that was him.
Good job. He's like phenomenal. I'd like.
He's so good.
Oh my gosh.
And also his acting was really good too. It was nice to see him do some film work. The scene that I specifically like, okay, wait, let's get into it. So basically,
let's go.
Beginning of the movie starts out, and we're introduced to Sam Cooke, who's
Cooke.
performing in front of an all-white audience. And yes, and they won't allow like his group to perform on stage with him, and it's kind of whack. I wrote down, I was like, Sam Cooke, that audience is whack. Like, people were just getting up like, okay, well, I'm just gonna leave now. I'm like, this man is singing.
I'm like, this is Sam Cooke. I would have been out on that dance floor with my man up there, saying
and you know what's funny, because like for the people that don't really know much about Sam Cooke, so Sam Cooke sings Change Is Gonna Come, right? Change is gonna come. And but his story is so sad, because that man I'm not ruining anything, it's not even in the movie, but he ends up,
if you don't know.
It's not in the movie though, but he is out, and I think he is meeting with this woman, and he ends up getting shot. Like, he gets shot by the hotel owner, and he had on he was naked, he had on a jacket and a shoe, just one shoe, right? And he was shot and killed, and that was the end of it. Which is it's a terrible story.
Think about it too, because in the film they mention something that a lot of people didn't know, is that he owned his own masters, and back in that time that was like unheard of, especially from Black artists. And it's still ongoing today, till this day. Like, there are Black artists who don't own their masters, and for those of you who don't know what masters are, it means you own the actual recording, everything about it, recording of your songs and or album, whatever it is, you own your masters. Prince did it. Michael Jackson had his masters. I think Beyonce has some of hers. Jay-Z has his. So this is ownership, economic ownership that a lot of people don't know about. And especially back then, it was really, really unheard of, especially for Black artists, to own their music. And they talk about it. They go into depth in the film about it, which loved it, because, a lot of people don't know that. Which makes,
because I, for one, didn't know. I, for one, didn't know, but he was just, and it made sense, because he's just like, listen, I get my money, and I say thank you to the white man for cutting me my check.
And
peace out. No. But so that's our introduction to Sam Cooke. I think I think I did that order wrong. I think we get introduced to Cassius first.
Yeah, I was like,
we get introduced to him first, and then we get introduced to Sam Cooke, and then we get introduced to Jim Brown. My favorite part of, like, probably out of the entire movie is Jim Brown driving, and the lady on the radio says, "Ooh, it's hot as shit out here."
It reminded me of Beauty Shop. You know that lady that's on the radio?
Yeah. I mean, he was blowing up my phone, my girlfriend's phone, driving by my house, my mama's house. This dude was straight tripping.
I was like, oh yeah, I love this.
All right.
But Jim Brown is an NFL player, turned to film, and he's meeting with, who is he meeting with?
I actually don't know. And for those of you who do know, either comment and or reach out to us to let us know. I didn't look this up at all, but it's somebody in Georgia. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's a white man in Georgia. And
it might have been like his coach from the past or something like that. I'm not even
I don't know, but it pissed me off, because just the way that he was just like, oh, you know, we don't let niggas in the house. I was like, wait, so you don't let me in the house, but you're gonna sit outside with me and have something to drink?
Mm-hmm. And I, I can dive deep into like the specifics of like just how the NFL structure is organized. This is not what we're talking about because we talk about movies, but it's, it feels like that. It feels
yeah.
I would be completely honest with you. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. Like it's just from ownership down, top down. Type of organization when it comes to the NFL. So seeing something like that is really not surprising, to be completely honest with you.
Right.
Because they use bodies. They use bodies.
Basically.
In the NFL, and you can make your money. That's what I think they mentioned that too. You can make your money, but I think Sam was the only one that wasn't getting paid by what they said, the white man or something like that, which is interesting.
I think the only person.
Hotel.
I think the only person not getting, it was Malcolm was the only one that wasn't getting paid by the white man.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, it was Sam too. Because he has his own master, so he had his own studio and stuff. He was producing his own music.
Well, technically, he was getting paid by the white man though, because the music, like them taking his music and paying for them to him to write music for them for the British takeover.
Oh, okay, yeah. At that point, yeah. He ended up owning his own stuff. So
yeah.
Okay. But
so Jim Brown, and then we meet Malcolm X,
yes.
Who's with the Nation of Islam. And yeah. So from then on, they show the really
I know, I'm like, oh Lord.
I know. So from then on we end up following they're all meeting with Cassius. I'm trying not to say Muhammad because he's not Muhammad yet.
In this film, he's Cassius.
Yeah, he's Cassius. Because I was watching it and I was like, who the fuck is Cassius Clay? And then I looked it up and I was like, Ember.
Yeah, that's Muhammad Ali, girl.
Yeah. So Cassius Clay, they show the iconic scene where he's in the pool taking that photo. I love the fact that he's like, he can't swim. He's like, he never can't. Yes. Oh my God. Wait, because that actor is also well known too.
Oh man, I can't think of it. It's
Lawrence Gillard Jr.
Yeah.
Lawrence Gillard Jr. was in Waterboy. You also had Lance Reddick, who is in The Wire. He's also was in John Wick 2. He was in White House Down. Like he's in a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Also, Jeremy Pope was in there, and I love Jeremy Pope. Okay. I just finished Hollywood.
Yep.
And he's not in there that long. He's in there for like a second, but he was really good. So it's a really good group of male Black actors that don't get to work that much. So I think from there we kind of got the gist of the plot line. They all end up getting together.
Yep. They all get together. I think there's an actual photo of them sitting in a diner or something. And I think Malcolm's like taking pictures of Jim and Sam cooking stuff, which is pretty interesting. I'll have to show it on the screen here so that you guys can see it. But I think just the overall artistry of the film, so like the fashion, we're talking about the setting, the casting, even the music of it. I thought they did really well with the artistry of the film. So like even like, because a lot of times you can catch like, okay, that's kind of like modern. They had a hard time figuring out his outfit or something like that, or like the music didn't fit, but the music is so timeless during that time. So important during that time that it's like I think they did
once when it comes to that. Once I started like understanding and following the story and understanding who each character was, I was kind of waiting for Sam Cooke to sing that iconic song. So when he sings it at the end, I'm like, okay. Thank you. Like this is what I was waiting for. Thank you. For the artistry, for the fashion and makeup, I think it totally did fit with the time. It's kind of hard not to follow the timeline for the 60s, right? Especially for people that actually existed, people who are actually real. It's so much easier to like,
and
to
be
go
like,
back and just look
yeah,
at like, okay, how would he wear this? Okay, Malcolm usually wears like a suit, a tux with like a bow tie.
and you still
Boom,
have
like
ancestors, grandmas, granddad,
exactly.
hair that was there during that time too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The setting, I totally think the setting matched up
Hmm.
perfectly. I mean, they were kind of in the same area for like probably more than half of the movie.
Hmm.
And it worked for me.
It worked for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah,
worked
it
for
works for
me.
me if it works for me. But
What?
yeah, and I thought the casting was pretty good. You already went over like, just they
Yeah, I
weren't
gave the
heavy
I
hitters.
gave the
So,
casting a 10
yep,
because
I
once
gave it a
Leslie
10.
Odom Jr. popped up on that screen, I said,
Yep.
Leslie,
I know
I love
him.
Leslie. And like as like I appreciate the fact that I didn't do any research before. Like
Yeah.
I had seen like pictures,
Mhm.
but I kind of just like went in blind and just like seeing these different actors pop up and being like,
Mhm.
oh my God, or I've never
you.
seen you before
Yep.
and I'd like to see more work from you.
Mhm.
But I really enjoyed each actor in it. I saw an interview where they interviewed Regina King and asked her why she didn't want to be in it. And I was like,
Mm.
well, I mean, the movie's main focus is on
Yeah.
the four male,
Four
the
black
four
men.
male, let me start over where I was saying. The four male leads.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I feel like it would have took away from it.
Mhm.
If you put Regina in it, you would have took away from all of the other characters and you would have been like,
Mhm.
well, where is Regina? Where is
Yeah.
Regina? So I appreciate the fact that she didn't cast herself in it.
Yeah.
And also it's probably 10 times easier. I've only directed and cast a play, but I can only imagine if I was also in the play at the same time as I'm directing it. It just
And
feels
that's
like
a
it's
lot
a
of work.
lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It has to be a
You
lot of
actually
work.
didn't either. I gave casting a 10. What got me is that there's been so many reenactments of Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali. I haven't really seen a reenactment of Jim Brown or
Sam Cooke.
but those two specifically, I think those actors did a really good job at portraying those roles and showing the vulnerability of
Yes,
those
I was
characters,
literally
or
just
not
gonna say
characters,
that.
those people, because I mean, you can get outshined by Denzel any day
Mhm.
in Malcolm X or Will Smith and Muhammad Ali, but they did a really good job at bringing their
Yeah,
type of character to that, or their own type of emotion to that character. And or
yeah. I was literally thinking
Mhm.
that that those two did a really good
Mhm.
job. Because especially Kingsley, I'd never seen his work before, but
Mhm.
it was nice to see to see Malcolm X
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Mhm.
I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
he actually has emotions and
Yeah, it's like
feelings and
it's like poster of him, thinking like he
yeah,
hardcore, like he about his
yeah, because like I mean, it's been a minute
yeah.
since I've seen the movie about him
Uh-huh.
starring Denzel.
Yeah.
But from what I mean, Denzel acts and is Denzel.
It's
But this
Denzel.
actor is an actor you've never seen before. You
Mhm.
get to see his own interpretation of Malcolm X. And I really thought he did a really good job at it.
Mhm.
And then yeah, brain fart.
It's okay, but also I want to point out another thing too, and this has been an ongoing conversation about just they call it the British invasion.
Yeah.
They mentioned it in the film when it comes to music, but also when it comes to actors. Apparently he's British, and I didn't know that.
No,
But
he's not.
he is. He is.
I'm
He's
about to look it
British.
up.
Girl, go ahead. But apparently he's British, and a lot of people were upset about that because they want American
He
actors
is.
to play to play American figures, and I personally, I don't care if you do the role well. I say go for it, and I also say like American actors should they get paid a little bit. I think that the issue was that we want more and we need to get paid a little bit more, which I'm perfectly fine with that too. But I think he did a really good job playing this role.
I did
Like
too.
the outside fuss, it doesn't matter. I think he did a really good
Yeah,
job
because
playing Malcolm X.
in my opinion, when it comes to people
Mhm.
discussing, when it comes to that discussion,
Mhm.
I have a brain fart. Just
Good.
bear with me. when it comes to the discussion of the British invasion and acting right now, I think it's good to see the actors play those roles.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in a sense, they also went through the same thing
Process.
too.
Yep.
You know, like they went through slavery as well. And just because they live in England now or any of those places, it doesn't mean that their ancestors don't trace back. Because yeah, like they're a part of our history too.
Yep.
And I think the only problem is when you have actors, like for example, I love Cynthia Erivo. However, her I think she tweeted, like it was a long time ago and it came back up. She tweeted about African Americans and kind of just being like more like us being less superior, and the British Africans being more superior. And I don't know, to me, in my opinion, we're all Black.
Shoot,
Like, yeah, the only difference is whether you have 2 A's or 1 in your government label.
And that, and
But
what
at
they
the end
say,
of the
a ship is the only thing that separates us. To be complete.
yeah,
One ship.
yeah. And so, in my opinion, I never mind. It's just until after I'm like, oh my God, they were British. Oh my God, I did not know. I did not know that. Yeah, but he did really good.
He did.
The only person I had an accent problem with was Eli, the guy who played Muhammad Ali, Cassius. Yeah. And that was the only person, because
did you feel like he was trying too hard?
I felt like he was trying too hard.
All right.
And I felt like he kind of made, because he was trying so hard, he kind of made Muhammad Ali seem dumb. Like, not that he was dumb, but like he kind of gave him that like goofy.
But also, I have to point out too, he was young during that time too. I think he mentioned he was 22. So I don't know if that plays a part into it, because he did mature as he got a little bit older. And started.
But the accent, like his accent was like, it really kind of just bothered me. Yeah. And I think that's what they're like. Okay, we're going into opinions about the movie. That is what kind of made me go, okay, I'm kind of getting annoyed. Like, I kind of want this movie to be over. Like, I felt bad because it was good. And like, you know, after reading the synopsis of everything, I'm like, okay, yeah. But yeah, his accent every now and again was just like, okay. Okay, Miss Girl.
Not thanks, girl.
Okay, Miss Girl.
And I'm gonna move to like the message of the film, because I think it's so important. And I'm coming from like, I'm huge on messaging in films when it comes to like the writing, how they promoted it. You know, was it thought provoking? I thought it was very thought provoking, especially just because you don't see very often. And I know I keep bringing this up, the vulnerability of Black men on film.
Yeah.
In this, you know, in this era, in any era at this point. But the way that they were able to speak, you know, and Black men and friendship too, I guess would be also the thing that I want to point out, because they were friends.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you don't really get to see a lot of times, you know, how do they act with their friends? You know, what do they talk about? How do they feel about each other? You know, they get into arguments just like us, you know?
Yeah.
There was that little scuffle between, who's it, Malcolm X and Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
They were going back and forth, you know, talking about economic freedom, Black power, Black freedom, all of that type of stuff. These are things that the dialogue is what we talk about pretty much all the damn time.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Especially now. Like, it's like 10 times more heightened, because like, you know, people kind of have this, just like there's a bunch of racist people and they're all getting out their closets. There's a lot of people that were in the closet about their opinions on African Americans in America and our economic crisis and our vulnerabilities. Yeah. And I feel like we definitely are talking about it more. Just as there are more racists coming out, there are more people that want to know more about their you know, their culture and stuff like that, and doing well for our ourselves.
The writing was just incredible, and I think that's the Kemp Powers. He's the screenwriter, so he does the screenplay, but the way that it was portrayed on film, I think was really well done. It didn't feel like closed in. Like usually when you take a screenplay from maybe something that was done on a stage and taken into a film, it feels enclosed. It feels like it's not moving.
Yeah.
It's slow. And although it did feel a little bit slow just in getting to where it was, I think the backstories, learning about the backstory of Malcolm X, just a little bit of backstory. It didn't give you the full autobiography
Right.
of Malcolm X, but it gave
Yeah.
you enough so that you can understand, okay, what is Jim Brown going through? What is Cassius Clay going through? Where are they at this point in their lives? And especially during this time, they're young. It's the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
So it's all these different things that are in play right now, and especially when they're at the height of their careers, especially. But yeah, I thought the messaging was just very incredible throughout the entirety of this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll also say, like, with the promotion of the film too. So like with the promotion of the film, I think they did a good job just based off of Regina King's birthday was, up and on Twitter all the time. Like it was
Yeah.
very recent. So, they kind of just mixed that in with the promotion as well. Just, but I think they did a really good job, especially with streaming nowadays. In the theater, you get trailers. So you can see what's coming out, but now, you may or may not see it.
Yeah.
Through. So
because it's nice. We went to the drive-in recently, and we saw like a movie that was already out. I think we saw National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, but instead of them playing the trailers that play on the DVDs, they were playing trailers for movies that are supposed to come out. So like we're watching that, and they're showing us a trailer of Wonder Woman,
Gotcha.
and all those things. So it's nice that like even though other movie theaters are playing really old movies, like or playing movies that like we've already seen before, they are playing the previews for the movies that were supposed to come out, or they're coming out later this year, but they're just going to stream it online.
Which I thought was also So I think they did a pretty good job when it comes to messaging, to be completely honest with you.
The one person I feel like I wish I would have seen the struggles a little bit more was Jim.
Yeah.
Only because we only had that scene and that's it. I mean, he talks about.
I agree.
Because he talks about like how he really wants to do film and he really doesn't think it's gonna work. But he doesn't care. And that was kind of it. And then in the end, they show like him being like, okay, I gotta leave the NFL.
But his story is so important too.
That's why, exactly. I would have loved to have like seen some more about him, or maybe he can get his own like film. And then with Cassius, it was nice because his like, even though we were more so focused on Sam and Malcolm, it was nice to see like little hints about Cassius, like the younger guy who was in the Nation of Islam, and how do you feel about doing this at such a young age? And he's like, oh well, I wish I would have did it at a younger age. Like I was like, okay, girl. Like
that pork chop scene when he was like, yeah, I can't give up my mama's pork chops.
It was nice to see like that, and then the struggle of Malcolm just deciding whether or not he's gonna give up these things to become a part of the Nation of Islam. Like
I think Malcolm was older, right? He was a lot older than the rest of them. You guys didn't know that, but
so the writing, I would say, was really good. I would have appreciated more about Jim's story, just like a little bit, since we were putting everyone else's in there. I would have loved to see a little bit more on him.
Another scene that stood out to me, when Malcolm X played Bob Dylan to Sam Cooke. I thought that scene was really like, I think that's what changed kind of my projection or my perspective of the film, because I think just moving into that when he like got mad and he was like, I ain't need to because he had already wrote something like it. So
he's like, please, why would you do this? I got something. But it's also just like that thing of how Black are you? You know what I mean? Like I don't know, I feel like
it needs to be answered, or that
I feel like something that I struggle with as an artist is like do all these roles, do all these things, but then people are like, well, you haven't done that many Black roles. How, like, it's like questioning how Black enough you are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just because I don't go out there and like do it like, you know, go pro, like everything that I do is not Black, doesn't mean that I'm not pro me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was, I think I more so was leaning towards Sam because I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I get it. Like,
yeah.
Why do we have to like
always,
I get it
always
yeah, like there's a difference. Like sometimes I want to eat a little bit of this and then sometimes I want to eat a little bit of that. Like why can I not have two of those things on the same plate?
And
like
who was it, Jim Brown in the movie All This Hodge, he mentioned that to Malcolm X too, that scene where he was talking about you know, why is it always the light-skinned brothers?
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
I saw that. I was like, yeah, he is not wrong.
No,
it is always
it
that,
is.
or it's people that are have mixed parents. They're just like, yeah, no, I am pro-Black, like, and you're not Black. And I'm like,
yeah. It's like that extra motivation to like prove I'm Black, like, you know, going through the same struggle. It's like, you know, everybody.
Like, there's a time and there's a place.
Yep.
Like Malcolm is known for being super pro-Black, and then Sam is. I mean, he has that song, but before that, he probably was, but not as because it's different. They have totally different stardoms, you know what I mean? Like
they do. That's
like it's two totally different. Like you're famous on Twitter and I'm famous on Instagram. Those are two totally different platforms, so we're gonna do work differently.
Absolutely.
But we talked about the music like briefly, but I did enjoy the music. I mean, one, I love Leslie Odom Jr. and his singing, and then just like the scene with Malcolm and how he used the music to like explain to him like all those different things. Like I thought that was really good. And then the scene where Sam is performing and the music, the
music went out, the mic went off. Oh
yes, and he performs. He performs like I was like, that's good. That's really good. Yeah.
Like how they moved into that scene, I was like, that changed the pace of like the film, because they could have stayed in that hotel room and just explained. But for them to move into that and show you, love that.
I enjoy Regina King. I think she's a phenomenal actress, and it sucks that there aren't as many Black female directors, but also that the actors, like once you are labeled as one thing, you cannot leave unless you are white, then you can go and do other stuff. But if you are Black, you want to be an actor, okay, you already got your foot in the door. That's it. That's it. And so it's nice to see that. And then like,
and her background too, just the things that she's done, like
exactly. I would if I was acting with her, I would trust her with my life. If she was directing me, she was like, I know you feel sad here, but I don't need you to cry. I'd be like, okay, she's right. No, I'm not gonna cry.
I'm gonna be strong.
I'll be strong.
You can tell me anything, okay?
Yeah, like I thought the directing was really good. And you know what? I feel like the reason why those characters were much more sensitive, it was because they got a woman's touch to it.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Yeah,
because they had a woman's touch.
That, you know, and I know this is going to sound very stereotypical, but the vulnerability, the ability to pull emotions from people.
Yeah.
You know, I think you can't, I'm not going to say you can't do that with a male director, but it's even more beautiful, for lack of better words, if you can do that with a female director, because she knows how to, you know, get that out of you. Yeah. Those are the type of roles, you know, we usually get.
Yeah, like you get the questions.
Yeah.
And then you be like, dang, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Let me think about that real quick.
Like, you know what? I didn't think about that. Okay, I'll come back. But yeah, no, I really like the directing. I want to see more directing from her. And but yes, the directing was really good.
Yes.
I gave it a 10. I thought that was really good directing.
I gave it a 10 too.
What was I gonna say? Editing, I also gave a 10. There was never a moment that I was like, okay, what? Like, I recently watched a movie. This, you don't have to put it in there, but I recently just watched this movie, and I was like, damn, why I got fades in here? Movies ain't supposed to have fades. Like, what the? And I didn't even notice it because, like, usually I'm on my phone and watching TV, and this time I was like sitting and watching it, and I was like, fade? No.
No, honey. What is going on here?
I thought it was really good. I also liked the lighting. Oh my god, the only fashion thing that kind of pissed me off, that like, well, it didn't piss me off, it kept irking my nerves. Malcolm X didn't have on a wife beater underneath his clothes, and so every time he popped up, he's wearing this white shirt, and I could see his skin underneath. And I was like, no, he would totally have on a wife beater.
Yep.
Yeah. That was the only thing, because everyone else had like a scarf underneath it, or
something. You know, you couldn't see it.
You couldn't see it, but they were like, he had on. We don't have to put this in there, but he did not have on a wife beater, and I was like,
that's an issue. No, we're gonna put it in there.
Where's your wife beater?
Where's your wife beater?
Where's your wife beater?
Not that you.
Is there another word for wife beater?
It's an A shirt now.
A shirt. So yeah, where's your A shirt?
Questions I need answers.
We want to know. The audience wants to know, where's your A shirt? Yeah. Okay. So and then
only reason I didn't give it a full 10, of course, is just because there's a couple spots where I was like, okay, it could be a little bit better. Like timetable wise, like just when they went outside, he said, hey, I'm Cassius Clay, but my name is going to be Cassius X. Like I think a lot of that could have been a little bit more spread out and or figured out, because I kind of fell off of what time it was that night.
Yeah. No, you're like, so right.
Out,
you're so right, because I was like, it feels like they have been in the room for a very long time, and that's why I say that the flow is kind of slow sometimes, because I was like, we've been in this room for a very long time. Like, they didn't walk in and it was like light outside, and then walk out and it was light. Like it was dark for the most part. Like, it had been dark for like most of the time that they were in there. They go to the store, it's still dark. Like, unless the media was outside at 3:00 in the morning.
I was like, okay.
And they probably were. I don't know. I
don't know if I think I know this is inspired by true events, so of course that's not always right, but they could have did that a little bit better, because timetable was off. I was like, I don't know what time it is at night. I'm sleepy. Like,
yeah. I was like, would they be out here? Like, y'all don't want to go home?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that they would be out partying. Like, he just won that match. But then if you do the math, hold up, let's do the math.
Okay.
So he won the match the day before. They all got together. And then they all get together. They're discussing the match. No. He took the pictures in the daytime. What's his face left his wife at the hotel room.
Yeah.
And they went and they talked. What's his face visited his friend in the daytime, his family friend in the daytime. Right. They all got together. I didn't see. I don't know.
I'm trying to think about it too. Like, I think that's the only reason why I gave it like.
Yeah. So, overall, my thoughts on the movie, I thought that it was a pretty good film. It was nice to see those historical characters all together. It was nice to see them humanized. Not that they're not when you watch them in their own, like when you watch documentaries about them or like video, like like, and those, they're like figures and they're things that we all know about. But it's nice to see them like discuss something different. Like, I thought that it was directed well, especially due to COVID. I don't know if it was done at the same time, but
that's another thing I'm gonna have to look up too and see.
Yeah, but the movie is out on Amazon Prime.
If y'all want to check it out, go bootleg your mama's Amazon Prime. I don't know. I'm just saying, because shoot, it's good.
I'm so dead.
But yeah, go check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. One Night in Miami, directed by Regina King, starring 4 amazing. I wouldn't call them new, but they are very, 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 very good actors, and they did a really good job portraying these. I keep calling them characters, and they're characters. They're real people. They did a really good job portraying these people. So you guys really need to go check it out. But this is it. Go ahead, follow us. Go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube. Please do follow us on our social medias. We're gonna do Instagram, Twitter, and then also like us on Facebook. We're everywhere. And then also check out our website.
Heck yeah, check out our website.
Yes.
Get into it.
Get into it.
Get into it.